Hi, Roberta.
Hi, Mister.
We have a future research subject joining our call today.
Oh my gosh, look at that person. Hi, how you doing? How you doing? You're a happy person.
Oh yeah, he's thrilled. He loves to socialize.
Oh, I bet you'll love MRI too. Oh, the smile went away.
No,
For a
he's just
moment, I was
to
like,
think about
huh?
it.
Huh?
Yeah, MRI. Oh, intriguing.
I've been working on a couple of things. Stanford's doing an interview right now. Um, there's some logistical stuff we should probably talk about. Probably's on too.
Yes.
So you
Hello.
probably got some of the emails that we are going to be, all the hours count. There's no uncounted hours.
Got it. Even if I'm running the magnet.
Even if I don't know, even if we're just sitting there, we might be charged. But I mean, I shouldn't say charged. The hours count, and so I don't think we've assigned any hours to Prabhu's project. So we just assigned all of them to either John John's project for the Fontan patients or for the Stanford CF one.
Okay.
Prabhu? He,
Yes,
oh,
yes.
okay, okay. We're going to scan some babies.
All can be under my project.
Okay. I mean, it sounded like it wasn't going to be hard to just apply and say, we're still refining the sequences. And Krishna thought that that would be fine.
Mhm.
I'm presuming that he's just trying to stay within the various funding agency rules around this, so it doesn't look
Yeah.
like
And
there's
everything's
just
accounted for.
yeah.
So
So.
I think that's the thing. Can you remind me, Prabhu, did you have any like discretionary funds to pay for any incentives?
I'll have to check. I mean, I'm sure I can sort of find some money for sure. If it is like 5 or 10 patients.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay,
uh,
that'd be helpful
yeah,
because that way we can kind of split it up between the two.
yeah. What I don't know is how quickly.
Mm,
uh,
I got you. Yeah, that's probably, but something we should be looking into because no matter what happens, if it scans at USC, we want to make sure that um, that we can pay people.
yeah, sure.
And I can for sure handle all the like the CF ones, but at
Mhm.
a certain point I might not be able to handle everything.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you have a template of how you are sort of creating the cards and all that, if you let me know, I can replicate that.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm still trying to work with our financial people to have it set up the same way that John has it set up.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what they prefer. Like if you want to do, I'm not doing Clean cards if that's what you meant, but I've been doing Amazon and then just trying to eventually get reimbursed. I don't even know if I'll ever get reimbursed for it. But I've been doing Amazon gift cards and just generating them online so I can email them to people.
Okay, okay.
Which maybe we should have like physical cards because I always have to like email them, make sure it's the right person because I don't want to accidentally send it to the wrong person.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I had a year ago spoken to my sort of financial person, and he had suggested there was a physical card, but that things were changing. Let get back to him.
Mm. Yeah, if it's the Clin cards, I guess that could work. That could work.
And this is $100, right?
Yes, $100 per scan.
And
Right.
and how much are we paying for parking and all that?
So I'll be honest with
Is that
you.
an account also?
Yeah, technically you can create account. My financial people have been working on one of my grants, so I just every once in a while I ask them about it, but this other grant that I have that's been kind of a financial accounting disaster. They focused on that thing,
Welcome to my
like,
world.
last year.
Okay.
I looked
But
at it, I'm like, I found something else wrong.
but John presumably has this worked out for his patients.
Oh, yeah. So Sylvie's the one who's been taking care of it. And then I can send you that information again.
Yeah.
We talked about, I mean, this was a long time ago that we were working on it for last year. So I can find it again. But Sylvie's our go-to person.
Okay. All right. If you don't mind sending me her contact address, and I can connect my financial guy with her.
Yeah, I'll find the last email that we sent and then send that around.
Okay.
The other thing was, so the parking, technically what I've been doing just recently is I tell either I give them, like when I recruit them in the clinic, I give them $20. I just literally give them $20. I'm like, here's the $20. You will pay with a credit card, bring a credit card. So then
Ah,
that they have the money, and it's just, I almost feel like it's an IOU from their standpoint. Like, I owe you a visit to the scanner to get scanned.
got it, got it.
And
And
everyone I've given money to, they've all showed up
oh no, so when you consent, you give them $20, is it?
for the parking.
For the parking. Okay. So
They
right.
know
Hmm?
that's my no excuses to come. Now, Sylvie, she
Mhm.
actually was, because they had the grant, she was setting up most of the time just rides.
Got it. Through the Uber or something.
Yeah. But because we have little kids, it's not, because Fontan patients were all like kind of young adults.
Yeah.
These are
No,
pediatricians.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, you want to minimize the walking, right?
And also, well, yeah, that actually was one nice thing is they would drop them off right at the building. But for
Yeah.
most of these like younger kids, they have a car seat, or
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
they're gonna go in a car. They're not gonna like put a car seat in an Uber or something. It's just
Exactly. Exactly. So there is a parking spot that public can go into that is near the disc.
so it is interesting because the instructions that Mary gives actually sends them to a gate that's like farther away. So
Yeah.
something I was thinking about changing because then they wind up coming into a gate and then usually being assigned parking right there versus
Mhm.
like if we have them come in on the location, like the entrance that we use. So I think I was going to ask Mary why she sends them to that other parking spot or that other gate. I'm not sure why. I think it's because there was a lot of construction before,
Mhm.
but since the construction isn't as big a deal. But we actually had a problem, and maybe this is another reason why they don't use it is remember I think we were there the same day when they closed down that street.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know how often they do that, but maybe that was another reason why they send them to the other gate.
Okay.
No idea on that one. Um, okay, so we have two babies that we're gonna reach out to. One baby, the mom said for sure they'll do it, but this is a PCD baby. Now, this is a PCD baby that was requiring oxygen and is now off of oxygen. Definitely has daily cough, and so I'm not sure what we're going to see, but you can hear crackles, so there might be some findings on pre-full. Um, and then that kiddo, I was going to try to bring in the same day that Joey has like a new pre-full 3D that she wants to test out on patients with lung disease. And so I have one of those people set up.
How old?
She's going to be 18. They want older patients with more advanced lung disease.
18 years old? 18 months.
18 years. So for the pre-full for Joey's,
Got it. Got it.
she wants older patients with more advanced lung disease.
Got it. Got it.
So I
Okay.
have an 18-year-old who can come in either next Friday or the Friday after. And we're going to try to get the other baby. And there's a 3-year-old where the mom's going to talk to her and see if the mother wants the 3-year-old to do it, but she's not 100% sure the 3-year-old can sit still. I think most people that we've talked to who have toddlers are just, I think they'd be interested in trying it if it was here, because there's like a low, they don't have to travel anywhere. But to go
Correct.
to USC and find out that their child won't sit still for it was something that some
Uh,
people.
And how old is the baby?
The baby's 3 months old.
I have a colleague who agreed. Her baby is 7 months old, I think.
Oh, okay. All right.
Normal baby.
Okay. The more babies, the better.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I've been telling the families, like if they don't sit still, that's totally fine. We still
yeah.
provide incentive, and that gives us information, even to say like how many patients that we actually tried were able to participate.
Correct, correct. All
Because
right.
that's all good. What do you have a time frame that they would
No,
like?
she actually she was on service when she said, of course, she'd help us and all that. And then when she went off service, it turned out somebody fell sick and she had to do their service. So she's right now on service again. You know, Annie Jano, right? Or you don't remember? She's the sweetest attending of all.
Yeah, a long time.
No, she's 3 years maybe.
What's her name again?
Annie, Eni, Yano.
I don't think I've met.
Okay, yeah, she's lovely, and so yeah, her kid, she's like, he's very inquisitive, so he may not be able to lie that still. So I said, no problem. This is something for us to learn also.
Yeah, and I almost, we haven't been doing a lot of ratings, but maybe we should be doing, how, like we haven't been keeping a lot of notes. And so maybe that's something that we should do and have like an official part of the data that we're collecting in terms of like how cooperative the patient was.
Yeah, okay. I mean, if any comes, of course, I'll be there, and
Okay.
I'll I don't know how many headphones are there. I'll go in. If any wants to be, we both can be inside the MRI room,
Oh yeah,
and
we have enough.
I'd have a good sense of what's happening, what is working, what is not, etc. My only concern is when I see babies, I can't help myself. I tend to play with them, so I won't be putting them to sleep. I'd be playing with them.
Random thought before I forget,
Yeah.
Prabhu. Oh darn, the patient already left. I
What
gotta
happened?
remember because there was someone who was up for doing the EIT.
Oh,
Had atelectasis. I totally forgot.
oh, come on.
I know. Man.
We need just one volunteer to for me to know how
Are you
good this
here?
will work. I can be. I'm not here. Like I'm on service the week after, and
Okay.
so I'm trying to finish up stuff that I can do because the
Ah,
service totally paralyzes me.
Do you
So
just need a warm body to do EIT?
no, this is a specific hypothesis, which is kids who need assistance to cough, who can't cough on their own or are making a lot of secretions and they need to be mobilized, that they have a specific machine that they use, Roberta uses. And the question is, can EIT detect how the machine is working?
Gotcha.
well,
Yeah.
the other thing that we want to do is also just get some experience because the 3 patients that I'm thinking about, so the one that just went home yesterday, I just totally forgot to tell you about it, was a kiddo who had left lower lobe atelectasis,
Uh-huh.
was sprinting with a trach and had, for whatever reason, then required chronic ventilation at nighttime. And so the question was, would he benefit from daytime ventilation? Because the family was pretty.
Exactly. That's not the cough sort of scenario,
Mhm,
right? But
mhm.
that's when I was
Similar.
talking to Ali, I was thinking of my experience in PICU 2 decades ago.
Mm.
Uh, where we'd have these Duchenne's patients on BiPAP.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking what happens in the transition times, as well as the times when you are actually deciding when to start BiPAP.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know at that time. I didn't pay attention, perhaps. And I still don't know the answer of how you are assessing the effectiveness of this. Is it just effort of breathing? Presumably, you cannot do sleep studies to test effectiveness. How are you actually testing effectiveness? Is it blood gases, whatever else, you know?
For the cough assist?
No, not cough, it's BiPAPs
For BiPAP.
for neuromuscular problems.
Yeah, so there's two ways. If it's chronic, then they're getting a sleep study. They'll have they wind up having a BiPAP titration in the sleep study. You know, actually, that's probably something that we could do, Mister.
Yeah, no, because sleep study. So talk to me how sleep study would tell you what measures are there in the sleep study that tells you that this is this titration level is accurate or correct.
Yeah, if we're talking about Duchenne muscular dystrophy, then we're talking about oxygenation and ventilation. And
Okay.
so they will have a little, I forget the name of the catheter, but they can put a catheter.
End tidal. Yep.
It's different than an end, but it gives you some end tidal, but it also gives you some pressure. And then they also have a
Ah.
continuous end tidal monitor, because the one that's in line with the the pressure is sometimes challenging, but it's better than just sticking that end tidal CO2 monitor underneath the nose, because it just washes away all the CO2. So I actually don't know how that monitor works, but they are assessing oxygenation and then ventilation with CO2 monitoring. They're not looking at chest excursion, even though that data is there. They don't look at phase angle, even though that's there too. We actually had one fellow where she was interested in looking at the change in phase angle as another indication as to when you've supported patient enough.
Mm-hmm. So you are not using the RIP bands for or any of the measures that come out of RIP bands.
Yeah, the phase angle, we're not doing it.
You are
Wait,
not.
so what happened was, because this fellow was interested in looking at the phase angle, I know that she never got to the point she was actually able to do the study. But one of the things that they were doing in preparation for her to do the study was they looked into it was an add-on to be able to calculate the phase angle throughout the sleep study. And I don't know if they made that purchase or not, but if that purchase was made, then we would be able to get that data.
No, I mean, I have that software to
Oh,
calculate phase angle, but of course, I don't know if the data that you get can actually be assessed on my software, VivoSense. Manvi knows it also. Manvi has used VivoSense in her fellowship project.
that sounds so familiar, VivoSense.
So, but I don't, I mean, that's what bottom line, that's not insurmountable, a barrier.
Uh-huh.
Having said that, I don't know how many things you can apply to the chest, first of all, right? EIT, RIP, etc. Worst comes to worst, you can actually get rid of the RIP because you're not using it anyway, and just use the EIT
Well,
band.
so a lot of the Duchenne muscular patients do have obstructive sleep apnea. So
Mhm.
that is part of what they're,
Got it.
yeah,
So
they are still titrating to, like, paradoxical breathing.
how many patients do you have like this?
Oh, well, I actually don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to, you mean that are getting BiPAP support?
Yeah, or you are doing titration studies or have BiPAP support. Like, I just want to know, are there 10 or 20 or 100?
Oh, I was going to go off of how many per night. So I would imagine there's probably like one a night.
One a night?
There could be one a night. We do like between 12, like at least 11 a day. And they're trying to increase that to 15 to 20.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
a study right there. Come on.
I mean, that's why there is so much sleep data. And I cannot believe this, mister. I have not still gotten you the EDF for that other engineering person.
Yeah.
Cannot believe that.
But not just that. I think EIT, think about this. Doing EIT on those titration studies,
Mhm.
you absolutely have the numbers to do it, right? Uh, uh,
That was me. I can look real fast just to see. Just
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, you just, from my point of view, if you're doing a physiologic study, this is a physiologic study.
Mhm.
It's at a very basic level, you are explaining the mechanisms, how oxygenation and ventilation is changing. How is it you are saying that FRC changes and things like that? You can actually see that with EIT, right? So at a very basic level, it's a physiologic study, and and that only needs 10 to 20 patients to do.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
because you are testing them against themselves at different conditions.
Mhm.
Now, if you are wanting to say, well, EIT is better than sleep study or EIT is better than RIP, whatever, okay?
It's different.
Yeah. No, I mean, just say that
Okay.
if
Okay.
that was the hypothesis,
Mhm.
then you need a bigger sample size to prove that. But at a very basic level, I think 10 to 20 patients is more than enough.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that this is what you want to do. Your
Mhm.
cough assist study may be more relevant for you.
Mhm.
But this is something you can start on while you're waiting for other things.
Mhm.
Uh,
Well, it brings up, so say for example, I have a patient and I can see when his sleep study is, but he's hospitalized right now. It's very complex, but he has right diaphragmatic paralysis. He does not have, I don't think we ever did a plication. And then he has severe asthma and obstructive sleep apnea and is on BiPAP and was requiring increased O2 during this hospitalization. So the question became, does he need the oxygen? Is he just not ventilating because he has this diaphragm paralysis?
mhm.
He needs additional pressure. So it was very interesting. And in the grand scheme of things, I guess he would have been perfect. But I think he might be going home today. If he doesn't, but so he was going to go home, so he's another. But I'm just looking right now. I do have a patient coming in this morning. Is it this morning? Let me see. Where the heck is this person? I have a patient coming in 11. We
Mhm.
don't have to try to plan for 11, but she could be one of those ideal patients. So this is a SMA-RD patient who's
Mhm.
17 months old.
Oh, okay. And is he a cough assist kid?
Well, so she does have cophasis. So she's coming in because she is a patient that moved to Los Angeles from Baylor. And she has been on the same settings for a year. And after an illness, she now requires increased oxygen and she's volume controlled. And she's like set at a volume, which I actually am not quite sure how these other institutions do their volume control, but I'm surprised that after a year from being an infant to being, 17 months old, they haven't made any changes um to increase the volume. She's at like 65 mLs. I don't know her weight yet, but we're going to switch her over potentially to a different mode, and we have to switch her to a different ventilator. And it's a lot to do in the clinic. So she may be someone that we might try to find a sleep study spot for to try to optimize her settings
Mhm.
in a sleep study in the next month.
Okay.
So she'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah, because they also have diaphragm paralysis.
Yeah.
And so it would be interesting to even just see, have you done any of the EIT on someone with SMARD?
No, no.
Yeah, I mean but she also already has some scoliosis, as you know, a lot of them will have. And so
Yeah,
it's a very complicated situation,
it is.
you
It
know?
is.
But I would love to see how she ventilates on these current settings
Yeah,
because she's needing like 2 liters of oxygen right now.
yeah.
Mostly when she's sleeping though. So that's why it'll probably need to be a sleep study. But then I was like, well, wouldn't it be interesting to see her switch from volume control to pressure control and see, how we make adjustments?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was very interesting. It's a very interesting scenario. And until talking to you right now, I had forgotten that we could even think about EIT to help with this.
Yeah, let me know. I mean, I have back-to-back service, which is to say I will be available in the hospital. But
Starting when?
The week after next.
Week after next. Okay.
Yes. So the last week of October.
Okay. And you're going to find out. So what we need for the baby of your colleague is to set up a time for when you're not on service, I guess.
When she's not on service, when I'm not on service.
Yeah, you both
Yeah.
can't be on service. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to be there. At least if one of us is there, it's like good. It will be good.
Okay.
But let's see. Let me first ask her about her schedule.
Okay. Yeah, then we can reach out to Shin and Joey, because they're both up for scanning. And
Got
Shin's more for the babies and Joey
Yeah.
the adults.
I had a question about the CHLA MRI machine. Did we get the date of when we are walking or no?
I know that John Dietrich reached out to someone. I didn't see a reply, but I also have over 2,000 unread emails. So
No, I didn't see a reply. That's why I'm asking.
okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm still planning that we do this November 21st. I was actually working on the kind of schedule. FYI, I didn't know what you guys wanted to talk about, but I think all of us should talk for at least 15 minutes about our projects, if not longer.
No problem. I mean, I can talk longer, of course. But that said, John Wood in the monthly meeting had mentioned many things we need to set up, right, and decide what we want and something. A lot of those things were sort of engineering and over my head. And Eamon, you are the only sort of interlocutor of what John was asking. Can we talk about that? Or are there choices we need to make? Is there any preparation we need to do, etc.?
Yeah, so John was talking about like picking pulse sequences. So the magnet ships with a bunch of pulse sequences. Sorry, Kieran has an opinion about this too.
Yes.
The magnet ships with a bunch of pulse sequences that are product sequences. And John was mentioning that we can also ask Siemens to give us WIP sequences or work in progress sequences that Siemens hasn't released.
That's what WIP is. Okay.
Yeah, work in progress. And so there are a bunch of pulse sequences that we have asked Siemens for. The ones that we are currently using for long, like for pre-full, are product sequences because pre-full is just post-processing. We've also got if we want to do like UTE structural lung imaging, we need a work in progress for that one, but we've already asked for that, so we don't need anything there. And then we would need, dude, kiddo. We would need Krishna's students to port B-Star to the correct software release. Oh wait, no, that's wrong. B-Star is implemented in PulseSeq. So we just need to get PulseSeq installed on the scanner so that we can run the B-Star sequence. So I think the punchline is like, we don't actually need to ask Siemens for a lot of stuff right now. It's mostly post-processing that we're doing.
So if we go through, I don't know, Roberta, if you are in front of a computer, you know, in the little sort of guide you had made of patients, what sequences to run, how long they are, etc.
Yeah.
If you don't mind opening that up, if it's accessible. And in that, can you go through that, Eamon, and line by line and tell us which one are products, which one are WIPs, and how long will it take on the Siemens magnet? Any difference from what is there in the sheet?
Okay, so for the essential protocol, everything in the essential protocol is product except for B star. B star is a pulse seq sequence.
So PD blade, in that the prefold, those 4 prefolds, they are all sort of.
Yep, all product sequences. The prefold is just a BSSFP sequence, which is very common. We can run it on basically any scanner, you know, like we
So-
can run on Philips.
So we will still need to give sort of specific directions around, do we want coronal, how do we define coronal, what's axial, and all that?
I mean, the scanner has it has a cardinal coordinate system. So if we ask for a transverse slice on our new magnet, it's exactly the same as a transverse slice on, you know, the magnet down at USC. If we do any oblique slice positioning, that's just up to the tech to get it right.
Got it.
Nothing different between the two magnets.
Got it. Okay. So then the question comes of what you said about Ute sequence. So how do you, so that's not what we are doing right now, though, right? We are not doing Ute on.
The only place we've done Ute is on the 3 Tesla Phillips on the BPD babies.
Yeah. So what from my intuitive sense, I'm thinking Ute would be faster than B star, for example.
Well, they're different. They're different sequences. So B star is a continuous acquisition that does retrospective reconstruction, whereas the UTE sequence is sort of a traditional acquisition where you acquire all the data and then you reconstruct the image without any sort of like specialized post-processing. The special thing about Ute is how short the echo time is, but that doesn't really change how the data is handled once it's acquired. So the B star is like the echo time is not as short as the UTE sequence, but it doesn't really change the duration of acquisition necessarily.
So the B star was like here, I don't know, it shows it here or not. It was 20 minutes, right? Or 13 minutes.
Yeah, it's listed as 13 here. I think that at low field, it'll probably make more sense to do B star. We can see what the Ute looks like. I haven't looked at a Ute sequence on sorry, my kid is like very vocal this morning.
Yeah, he has opinions. Come on.
He does. He's saying, Dad, what are you talking about? Got it all wrong. So
Ute sequence you said was not.
with Ute, unless there was some sort of readout that we could do that was B star like, where we can make sure that we can retrospectively select which portion of data we're reconstructing based on the respiratory cycle. I think B star is probably going to be a better bet for structural imaging, but I also have not tested Ute on the 0.55T, so I think that's just an open question. I have to see what it looks like.
Got it.
The Ute, and it's also worth noting the Ute will be a different readout than the one that we have on the Philips. So it will just like there are various things about the Ute sequence that we will get from Siemens that will be different.
Oh, they have a separate sequence. I thought you had to sort of modify the exam card we are using.
No, they'll give us it's not a product sequence, it's a whip sequence, but they'll give it to us and we'll be able to, run it.
Got it. And the reason I ask is the Ute sequences take less than 5 minutes. It's never taken more than 5 minutes for me. And from a practical point of view, that just seems easy, a lot more likely to be completed than a 13-minute sequence.
It is worth noting that the Beast, if we moved to a 1.6 millimeter cubic voxel instead of 0.9 millimeter cubic voxel, the scan time goes down to like 6 minutes. So there are ways to make B star shorter.
Got it.
We just have to know in advance because we can't modify the B star sequence parameters on the magnet the same way we can with the Ute sequence, where we could say, oh, let's try it with 1 millimeter and 2 millimeter and 3 millimeter voxels and see which one we like better. We have to only run whatever's been pre-configured for the B star.
Yeah.
So we just have to know which one we're going to do.
So I think this is fascinating. Can you guess what is the resolution of Ute that we are doing on 3T?
I think we're doing something like 1.5 by 1.5 squared by like a 5 millimeter slice. Let me see if I can tell you exactly.
I mean, even the PD blade looks pretty good. And I think that's one thing that we maybe need to reach out to Nam about, is that because he kind of holds all the B-star data, we haven't been able to compare it to know, how different they are, except for that one patient that was that has more extensive lung disease.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point, Roberta, is do we really need 0.9 millimeter resolution? We probably need that for if you're looking for airway dimensions, I suppose, right? If you're thinking about
Well,
bronchitis or whatever.
the last
But-
time we did it at a lower resolution to try to cut the time for a younger person. And so, I mean, I think that's the hard thing, is we haven't seen how different it is because we don't have those images available.
Correct.
Yeah, so maybe it's something I need to reach out to Nam about, and maybe I'll also ask him to talk about B-Star and kind of where he thinks that's at, and make sure that he can come to the session in November. And then even potentially come to one. The hard thing for him is he doesn't wake up this early. He's like, oh, we just do it later? And
Classic
so,
PhD researcher move right there.
yeah, he's like, it's hard for him to make an 8 o'clock.
So I just checked our resolution for the kiddo, I know you're hungry. Is 1.7 by 1.7 by 4. So
Oh,
1.6 cubed B star would beat our current resolution at about the same acquisition time.
Say that again.
So the 1.6 millimeter cubed B star sequence will be about the same amount of time, but beat our probably our acquisition quality is my guess.
Beat it, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. I think we can certainly start with 1.6, see how it's acceptable. There will be patients, for example, who I'll be able to sedate and paralyze and all that. In those, we can probably do comparative studies. But as a default, perhaps for our babies who are not, who sleep and time and all that is very sort of unpredictable, we should probably go with 1.6.
Yeah.
Oh, and can I make sure for the, and then I guess I forgot about this, but for Ute, it's 3D.
Yes, it's a 3D acquisition.
Okay. All right.
Oh, I didn't. Did you say that before to me? Ute is 3D, or for some reason I got in my head that only B star is 3D.
Well, I mean, calling it 3D is sort of like a technical consideration of the acquisition, but from like a reader's perspective, there's not necessarily a huge difference between a 3D acquisition and a multi-slice acquisition.
Because you're reconstructing it anyway.
Yeah, because you can we could take 15 slices using a 2D excitation, and we still get 15 slices the same we would do if we specified 15 slices with a 3D acquisition. It's just like a different encoding, but
Yeah.
and there are technical reasons why we would want one over the other, but from a reader's perspective, it won't really matter.
Hmm. I think I was just bringing it up because, when I was thinking about using PD blade, I forgot that it's 2D, so you're not getting the whole lung. And so it is still taking quite a long time to not get all of the lung. So we wouldn't be able to use that for, really to detect lung disease because you'd be missing something.
Yeah,
And
I think the PD blade will be, or I mean, I think B star is sort of a replacement for PD. I thought PD blade was to look at like anatomical
Mhm.
structure, and if that's the
Yeah,
case, I think
but it
B
has
star
to be the whole lung.
yeah.
And we should probably update this because there is the updated version that Nam has. That's, I guess, I don't know. I don't know which resolution he chose at the end.
Back to the idea of requesting things from John and Siemens. So the Ute is the only thing that we need to request. Is that right? Everything else and B star.
Yeah, the only other one that I don't know off the top of my head is the T1 mapping sequences, because there are many different approaches to T1 mapping. So I'll just need to make sure that, like, I'm presuming we chose Molly because it's available on Siemens. So as long as that's the case, great. If not,
You have to educate me on T1 mapping.
yeah, it'll be easier if I can sit down with a piece of paper and draw some diagrams for you to show you how the pulse sequences work.
Oh, no,
Try
no,
to
just
explain it cold.
just the net effect of what we are trying to get with T1 mapping.
I think the idea is that the T1 will be different based on how much like lung infiltrator tissue density there is in a particular region. And then also if we can get the oxygen T1 mapping working, then we could really also consider doing that. But I think at this point, we're sort of expecting that to not be that fruitful.
So basically things like edema versus fibrosis. As fibrosis has less water content and edema has more.
Yes, that would be a good example. It's worth noting here that I think if we can get a diffusion sequence working, that would also be super useful for differentiating different types of pathology.
Okay, so how do we, so in the next meeting, we tell John about all this, or how does that work?
I can also just email him and say, yo, do we have a Molly sequence? And if the answer is yes, then fine.
Okay.
I'll email Shin because she actually knows
Yeah,
who's available.
I was gonna mention Shin probably be the best person to keep track of it.
Yeah, and then yeah.
I forgot your baby's name. I'm sorry.
This is Kieran.
Kieran. Hello, Mr. Kieran. Who is taking his name? That's what he's thinking. Hello. Oh my God.
He wants to see your face, mister.
Yeah, let me just.
Otherwise, it looks like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't think it's me, but he might think it's me.
Yeah. The only other two things I wanted to discuss today, next week, I'm going to send out a draft of the foundation grant for additional ventures.
Mhm.
So we'll need to, say hi to Prabhu. You can see him now.
Hello. Hello.
Okay.
What a smile.
Yes, hello.
What a smile. Wonderful. Wonderful. You made my day.
Look
You
at
made
that.
my day. It's very simple. You just have to smile.
What was I saying? The grant. Yes. So I'm going to send out a draft of the grant. I'll need Robert. I'm planning to put Roberta, John Dietrich, and Shin as my 3 co-investigators, since it's like heart and not baby focused. So I'll need copies of everyone's biosketch.
Biosketch.
And then I gotta bang out the budget. Like I know what the budget's gonna look like, but I need to send it to the grants people so that they give me the thumbs up. I'm planning to, it's for $50,000. I'm gonna essentially consume all of it. I'm putting in 5,000 for pre-full software, some salary support, and then some, like everything else will be patient scanning.
Oh, so additional patient scanning.
I want to propose additional patient scanning even if we don't use it, because
No, I love that
we
idea.
don't actually have left-right pulmonary flows on any, except maybe like 1 or 2 patients.
Mhm.
And so what I'm going to put in the grant is that we have acquired a bunch of this data that can be reanalyzed using these 3 toolboxes, but we also want to acquire data to determine which one is the closest to reality. And we'll do that using pulmonary flows. And for that, I'm going to say we probably want like 20 patients, 10 or 15 patients, 5 normals, something like that.
So it's still trying to get like a diverse population versus like trying to repeat some of the other studies.
Well, all of the I think it's all gonna be Fontan patients, but then also I want normals just because part of what I'm gonna explain in the grant is that there's this question about whether each of the techniques can actually look at perfusion correctly, because the whole idea of pre-pulse perfusion is based on pulsatility, and that doesn't exist
Hmm.
now in any way that they would call it pulsatile for hand patients. So so I want to basically say, like, we think that one of these three will do it. We need to figure out which one, but we also need a comparison metric in a normal person, because we know pre-full works in normals. We don't know really if it works in Fontans. That's essentially going to be the punchline.
That
And
makes sense.
and then I'm going to say it's also supporting an R01 and a K01 submission.
Do you think that is that something that they're looking for, do you think?
I guarantee what they want is they even say in the RFA
Uh-huh.
that it's supposed to like catalyze new ideas.
Ah,
And so generally what they're looking for is someone to say, I have an idea and this data will allow me to apply for bigger grants. Doing the little question so I can answer the big question.
Cool, mister.
So that will come out next week, and we're gonna have to kind of cook on it because November 7th is the submission deadline.
Ooh, okay.
I'm a little behind where I wanted to be on it at this point, but we'll get it done.
Yeah, and just an update, because we were trying to think about ATS abstracts to submit, and Stanford was thinking about doing a CF one, but I told him, now that he's got like if we can just get one, even though we just have a baby, but we were thinking instead of submitting an ATS abstract, is just try to submit a paper.
Yeah,
And
I
it would
think
have
100% paper is more valuable to all of us right now.
Yeah. And I think because we got I think it's gonna be like, if we count with normal controls, we'd probably have 10 patients. It's still a very small number compared to some of the other lung MRI studies. So, but we were thinking about still submitting it to a CF journal first. I
Okay.
just don't know if the numbers are going to be enough.
I mean, I'm of the opinion that we're operating at low field strength doing lung imaging, which is traditionally pretty new and fresh. So I would say let's just write it up and submit. Like worst case scenario, if we get rejected, we just need to increase the N and
Yeah.
submit the same paper.
Okay, yeah. I think the one thing though that no other paper has are babies.
Yeah, that's
Well,
probably
like for CF at least,
Yeah.
not for BPD, but for CF. So I think that's where we're gonna show something. I think we could throw a PCD baby in there. Not sure though. I see some other papers where they're comparing CF and PCD. So we might want to think about that as a backup idea, because I see that in CF journals. But then we also, do have that B-star data. So I wonder, do you ever talk to Nam?
not frequently.
No. Okay.
But I can,
Well, I think the biggest question is, and how to downloading the data because it's those three, the two controls and the CF patient that we want to add to the paper.
Yeah, I got the data transferred to my computer yesterday, and while you and Prabhu were talking about stuff that was over my head earlier on the meeting, I imported it into Horos, exported it, and after this meeting, I'll drop it on OneDrive.
Okay. Stanford's going to take a look at it, and so when he comes back, so it probably won't be till Monday next week.
Cool. Yeah, can do.
Okay, and then that way he'll have like a set of patients then, and I think, yeah, we'll just give it a go.
Cool. And then I told Prabhu this, but I haven't told you. I got the purchase order written for Sandbox so that my consulting firm can buy pre-full. So I just want to make sure that everyone thinks that it's okay, that what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a purchase order for CHLA from my consulting firm that basically explains that it's for pre-full image analysis And it's going to be for literally the cost of what they're billing me plus a small overhead because I have to pay taxes and stuff.
Mm.
And
For my,
and yeah,
yeah, I mean,
I mean, I've done the disclose that I own this firm. I have billed CHLA through it before. So it's not, I'm not, as long as the grants people are, understand that this is what we're doing, then I'm fine with it.
So you want me to start the process of paying you?
I will cut you a purchase order and then, yeah, as long as everyone's on the same page that this is how we're buying
No,
this toolbox, then I'm
yeah,
fine.
yeah. I think why don't you send me the PO from your company? Let me start that process anyway.
Okay.
So that way we'll know if there are any roadblocks.
Okay, perfect. I will send you that later today.
Yeah. And also the guide if you can, if you get the for uh that source, so that to download the updated toolbox.
Yeah, the one thing that we'll need to do is ask Shin to double check that my new workstation is set up on all the MRI systems, because my old Mac that was actually John Wood's old Mac is like sort of on, sort of off. It's totally unpredictable. So we just need to make sure that my new DICOM endpoint is set up correctly on the scanners, which I don't know if it is. And then the directions will hold, but you can always push it to Research Packs or Pack Mule as a backup.
Oh no,
We'll explain that in the directions.
no, that's not what I meant. I meant the one that you used for merge toolbox, the source tree.
Oh, right. Yes. I can send you a guide, but it should be as easy as opening source tree, clicking on the repo, and clicking pull.
There are so many rows in that. I don't know which row to click.
I'll get a screenshot. I'll find a screenshot for you. Yeah, I'll send you that. It should be, I mean, it should be faster. It was a lot faster on my computer, but I don't have any like older Macs running MATLAB right now that I can test on, or ones that don't. Like, all of my laptops are like totally decked out in terms of specs. So it's hard for me to know what the performance looks like on a
You have to write it as if Kiran is reading it.
buddy.
Yes.
Buddy.
it is a really good question though, to figure out how to describe that like kind of involvement, in terms of, as long as you disclose it, does anything have to be put in a paper about it? That's the thing I don't know, to be honest.
If we write a paper about this, then we will definitely have to say that I am an owner of a consulting firm that contracts CHLA. But that's fine.
Okay. Because I think the other thing that we should always consider is that because you have a company, you could, and I think you already looked at this before, is to see if there's an SBIR grant that you could apply for.
There's an open RFA for lung analysis software for non-invasive imaging. I would love to apply for it. I don't know yet what we would say we could do, but if we decide we know what we could say we could do, then I absolutely want to apply for it.
Yeah. Well, do you know what the due date is for it? Or are those running?
It's always in December. This one is always in December, but it's been open for 3 years and they just keep renewing it.
Oh, mister, you gotta apply for that one. Good. That can be big money. Is it one of the 1 year and then goes into 2 years?
I don't remember. Let me get the RFA and I'll send it to you.
Okay. I can't remember. Oh, I know why this came up. It was because Krishna, there's like the sleep thing. Krishna was there, so he probably recalls it. But the sleep conference I went to, which was hosted by Michael Koo and someone from UCI, they brought one of the NIH program officers for sleep. And they were just talking about the SBIR grants, and they're just saying, if you're even if you have an idea, just make yourself an LLC and then apply for an SBIR grant. That's what they were saying. It's just make yourself an LLC and you'll be able to apply. And this gives you another opportunity. And she was the one who also said, throw in a little AI and you'll probably look really good.
Okay, well, I have an S corp, so we're good to go there, and we can always throw in some AI.
Yeah, I think the one thing though, Mister, is and this is the challenging part, is that if you are going to apply as an SBIR, do you know the rules around it? Because the
I
one thing
don't.
that's challenging is you have to be paid mostly through the consulting firm. Like you can't be like 10%, paid by the LLC and still try to run an SBIR through your company. If you know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I have a part. Well, so we could potentially get
Oh,
rid of it because I have a partner.
that's perfect. Yeah. If you have a partner and that person can claim, I think it's 80% or something that they're paid through the whatever that company is, then they can apply.
Got it. If we need it to be 80%, then we would have to use a different company that I do
Mm,
consulting work for, but we can probably make it work.
yeah, that's the only small little thing. 80% I'm just pulling out of my head. It was one of those numbers where I'm like, oh, you would have to quit your job. You technically have to quit and then be, as we were thinking about this, we're like, well, most of us all have like, academic careers. No one's going to quit their academic career to just get an SBIR grant. But maybe there are people out there.
I mean, I feel like SBIRs get applied for a lot, and I'm presuming there's a way to make it work.
Yeah, and it is one of those things where um you got to make the most of the year you got it. Similar to this
Yeah.
advanced directives. You got a year to make the most out of it. Ooh, that'll be exciting. And so we yeah, if we can get the 3-year-old and then one baby, I still want to reapply for the CF one that's due in December. It's just we haven't addressed that. Can you scan a baby with CF? I was like, because they also suggested the other option is to just reapply and then skip all that other stuff.
I mean, we can
Get the
reapply and
baby.
put other babies in. I mean, how different are the scanning considerations for a kid with CF? Like realistically,
What was that again?
like what realistically, how different are the scanning considerations? Like, can we just scan other babies?
Yeah, I think the part that they were concerned about was not only like scanning babies, but scanning babies that have had CT scans to document that they have, some type of lung disease. And I think that will always be hard because, there are some babies who've had CT scans. Um, but I mean, to be honest, they're just actually so complicated that we've decided not to approach them just because we're trying to get them to come to clinic.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, that's why those patients, and that's why, there is the option of just waiting to the scanner is here. And that kind of relieves a lot of the questions, that I think we can address. We'll just be able to scan more, hopefully, babies. Hopefully.
Well, and there's just a lot of practical issues with scanning a disc. Like it's a good resource, but getting patients down there is a challenge.
Yeah. It is a challenge. Um, I think that's everything for right now. I think the one other thing that I wanted to just verify, because I know I keep on bringing this up, but Shin put in so much work to get the RO1 grant in. Um, I think the question always winds up, should that BPD RO1 go in the next cycle?
I mean, why not? It'll be the one thing I will say is it'll be hard for me to help on that because I will be writing my K.
Oh,
No, I think that if the CHLA machine is up and running by December, then definitely by June, we'd be ready to submit that.
Yeah, and June I would be able to help with because I'm planning to submit in March.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think from all points of view, it seems like that by December, January, it will be up and running for patients, right?
Yeah, that's what they have continually said, that like late November was the go live for human scanning.
And just we just need to know from say Krishna or John Wood, uh, how much pilot data do they think we need for an RO1 for PD? Meaning in terms of number of patients, because I can actually get in 3-4 months I can get at least 10 to 20.
I'd say that is a lot of pilot data.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That is a
Like they'll go
lot.
like, why do you need a grant? You've already done the study.
Yeah, we'll have to be a little careful. Maybe we'll only put 5 in.
Mm.
5 is absolutely done. I can do it in a month or two, and that actually, that number would help me in terms of selecting the patients, because it's a long trip. I probably want to set up patients on home oxygen or normal without oxygen, go there first. And once I have a better idea of logistics and what that scanner can handle in terms of medical facilities and how far it is, etc., then I can take the intubated patients. So those 5 patients would, if it's only 5 patients, then I can just take the 5 babies who are ready to go home, kind of thing.
And maybe, Mister, what you can do is, so what I was thinking for this time where we have Krishna and hopefully John Wood there at the same time on November 21st, is
21st.
to have, these ideas, kind of like with the CF, like part of it will be going over grant ideas and what
Yeah,
we're proposing, and to kind of brainstorm, how will that physically happen to bring kids from the NICU over? From our standpoint, we're still we still want to work on when we have CF clinic and there's multiple people at the hospital, what will be the protocol in those rooms for CF patients? So there's a lot of logistical things in
yeah.
addition to thinking through, like, I think you're like, that's a great question, is like, if we're trying to prioritize what patients go in, let's start to think about what those research questions are that we're trying to answer to make
Yeah.
sure we're getting the right preliminary data.
Okay, so let's plan for on the 21st. At least I can give a brief spiel on on the broad project idea, and which won't be a surprise to any of them, I guess. And then ask them, if 5 patients is enough as a pilot data, and if they say yes, and I can say I can get you that in a month. How do we best logistically do this? And then the question will be what sequences we run and all that. And Eamon, you can chime in there.
Yeah, and I'm thinking what we could do is plan on the presentation part of it is like 10 to 15 minutes as you're kind of talking through. But
Yeah.
then the other half of the hour, or the other half of a half an hour, so the other like 15 minutes is just is left for talking about, the logistics.
Is it all on Teams, or do you have a physical space for this?
We want to actually have it in the scanner room. That's why we want to take a look at it, because I'm not sure, like everyone says there's enough room in the scanner room to have all these people, but I'm not sure how that's physically going to happen.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So, but that's where we want to have it. I think it'll just set the mood.
Plus, we can get some nice photos,
Mm,
which
You,
is worth thinking about marketing material.
mm.
oh, okay. Got it.
Is the magnet already up? Like actually magnetized?
I believe that the main fields have been energized, but
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not 100% sure, but I think so.
I got an email from our nursing manager. Okay, hear this. I got an email from our nursing managers asking every nurse and attending in the NICU to volunteer testing of this magnet. I'm like, where did this come from?
Sorry, I missed that last part. What did you say?
That's craziness.
I'll forward you an email I got from our nursing manager. She sent it like a blast to the whole NICU community, the nurses predominantly, saying there is this new cardiac scanner. They need people to just see the machine is working and all that. Can you please volunteer?
Oh, they're asking everyone to volunteer?
Yes.
I mean, you know. So
Make sure.
this sounds like a phenomenal way to generate a normal subject research
I
database.
was gonna say, can we do some lung MRI while they're there?
Let's do it. Let's
See
see if
who's
we
in
can
charge.
consent
Who's in
people on
charge of
sequence
that?
refining.
I will send you the email. Make sure I have not misunderstood this. And if I have not, let's loop back to John Dietrich or John Wood and say, who the heck is doing this? Can we get some normal?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
That's totally craziness. Because then everyone needs to be consented.
Well, if they're just doing testing, I don't know that they would need to be consented if we're not doing anything with the images.
Oh no, but I thought we would want to do something with the
Oh,
image.
if we want to do something with the images, we definitely have to consent people.
I'll go down there and just like scan, consent, scan, consent, scan. And it's DocuSign, so it's so easy.
Do we have a DocuSign consent for the sequence refining for CHLO?
We don't. I keep on. Oh darn! I was thinking about the USC one. You're right. We don't.
We have got to get that on DocuSign.
Someone would have to ask.
I'll ask.
Okay.
So when I saw that email, I thought, oh, this is great. Many of the nurses would go down and they will know how long it is to go down and all that.
Oh, and experience it. Oh.
I was only thinking of the logistics, and then
Oh. I didn't even think about that.
you're like, oh, actually, we can do human studies. Okay, that's it all works. So let's. I hope John Dietrich joins next week, and we can find out more.
Is next week our? Next week is an 8 a.m. one though.
I can just
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll look at the
Peter
email
will be there. He's saying.
and just ask him. Just email him.
Okay.
All right. Is there anything else that we need to talk about?
I don't
No,
think so.
lot of things. Let me.
Oh.
I will summarize what I got from today's meeting and some action items. Please correct me. Okay.
Oh, you're gonna email that out?
I'm going to email the three of us.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say it too. We were both like,
I know. I was waiting for it. I was like,
I'm going to email out
perfect.
what I learned from today's meeting and as a summary, and you guys can add on to that, and it will be like a minutes of our meeting. By the way, Teams has AI thing, and Zoom has AI. We should start doing that.
that's a good point, Mister.
That's the AI
I
component of our
turned
game.
AI on here, but
I have AI companion here on the app, so
who can ask questions? I'll put it on. I still don't understand it though.
yeah, no, it just summarizes it. I think the meeting.
When I pull it up, it says you can ask it a question. Oh, based on a temporary. You can ask it question.
All right.
Okay, well, I think I need to get going because I'm pretty sure that somebody is getting hungry.
Yeah, look at that. Such a good temperament baby.
Yeah, he's a pretty happy kid. Pretty easy.
All right. Take care. Thanks for sharing time with us.
Oh,
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Put time. Make sure. I don't know if we already put time on. When do you want to scan him when you're here? You should put that on there.
I'll look at the calendar and put it on.
Okay.
It'll probably be like Monday or Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Okay. Sounds wonderful.
Cool.
All right. Take care.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.